coming at you live through Windermere's live streaming. This is Soul on Fire, Magic Mondays, and I am excited to be here again with you today to talk about spiritual entrepreneurship. I got some merchandise in, you guys, so I'll be talking to you more about that later. But let's bring in the consciousness for this space. I'm going to just ring a little bell here today. Come on in and join me for just about 20 minutes of just talk about abundance this week. Ooh, that was good. I'm going to do a quick little affirmation on prosperity today. And it goes like this. So listen up. Today, I expect every good thing to come to me. For I know that divine abundance is forever manifesting itself in my affairs. I am keeping my whole mind and thought and expectation open to new experiences, to happier events, to a more complete self-expression. Everything that belongs to spirit, I accept. Everything that partakes of the nature of divine reality, I claim as my own. I identify with success and I prosper in everything I do. As I give thanks for the good now flowing into my life, I gladly share that good with others. The more I give, the more I receive. I experience a deeper consciousness of peace and security. For I know that I am the embrace of a warm, loving presence, forever seeking an outlet through me. My cup runneth over. I exist in limitless possibility. And so it is. And so it is another beautiful morning. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. If you're home from work or school with the kids, keeping that in consciousness today that there are people that were here way before Columbus showed up. So honoring them and their walk today. Last week we pulled an angel card and we're gonna meditate on that. It was on forgiveness. So I hope that anybody had a chance to think about that, what that means in their life, and use that as a meditation tool for the week. Just kind of, whoops, was I being like that or with that person? I was a little rough the other day with a tab. People were arguing over the tab, and I kind of just said, just give me the tab. It was like, I need to forgive how they were acting, and I needed to forgive myself for how I reacted. And so forgiveness is like kind of a common thing I keep right at the forefront of my mind for my prosperity thinking. I also wanted to talk to you guys about, I've gotten a lot of feedback to change the time, and we're working on looking at, I think we're gonna go ahead at next week, and it's gonna be at 9 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. And as we fall back, it'll be probably a little easier to do that at 9 than 8 o'clock. So we're having a conversation about abundance, and I wanted to talk to you about the metaphysical meaning of abundance. So in terms of spiritual ideas, so abundance is first recognizing that it is a real thing, and that it has to expand to be abundant. So when we talk about abundance, we should choose words that represent abundance. So in the Bible, it says, for whosoever hath, to him shall be given. So an abundant mindset refers to the paradigm that there is plenty out there for everybody. Another one of our courses that we're going to be taking in the future is, actually so it'll be November, non-competition, living in a way that knowing that there's enough for everyone and that we can live in an abundant way with others, even if we're quote unquote in competition with them. So we'll be looking at how to reframe competition actually. So there's a paradigm that there is plenty out there for everybody. So another way of looking at this phenomenon is in terms of the scarcity mentality versus an abundant mindset. Stephen Covey, I don't know here, I'm pulling out my old stuff. I like these like yellowed jackets. I mean, this is an old one, but over 15 million were sold back in the day, and I'm sure it continues. And these are the 7 habits of highly effective people. And it's powerful lessons in personal change. And again, it's talking about those mindsets that we have. How do we look at scarcity versus abundance thinking? So a scarcity thinking would be that there will never be enough. And an abundance way of thinking is that there will always be more. Last week we talked about we live in this abundant universe. We live in this amazing community in our San Diego and North San Diego counties that we represent when we're putting together real estate transactions. Another scarcity thinking is competes to stay on top. And the new paradigm of abundance thinking is that we collaborate to stay on top. How about that? Collaboration is huge in abundance thinking. Scarcity thinking hoards things from others, whereas abundance thinking is generous with others. Right now, I'm being pretty generous, I mean, I'm happy to do this, but I mean, I don't have to be doing this. I could hold this information for myself and I could just be this spiritual entrepreneur, but I want everyone to be a spiritual entrepreneur. So that goes into the next part of scarcity thinking, which is they won't share knowledge, but when you're an abundant thinker, you do share knowledge because there's always going to be enough. So when someone is in scarcity thinking, they won't offer help to others. Have you ever done that? Have you ever not helped someone? Like, yeah, I know how to work that copy machine, but I'm busy. I don't want to even help that person. So, think about that, because abundance thinking, and this is what will free up your mind and your pocketbook, will freely offer help to others all the time. Scarcity thinking is suspicious of others, whereas when you're an abundant thinker, you trust and you build rapport with others. Scarcity thinking resents competition. Again, we're going to be going into that in detail, whereas the abundance thinker welcomes competition, doesn't even see it as competition. Scarcity thinking is afraid of being replaced, whereas abundance thinkers, they strive to grow. Scarcity thinking believes that times are tough, and an abundant thinker believes that the best is yet to come. Scarcity thinkers believe that the pie is shrinking, whereas abundance thinking believes that the pie is growing. So everything is consciousness, right? We talked about that in the last couple ones. The consciousness of our mind. What are we thinking that's bringing out the results in our lives? Scarcity thinkers think small and they avoid risk, whereas abundance thinkers think big and embrace risk. Scarcity thinkers fear change, and abundance thinkers take ownership of change. I was at a talk yesterday at my spiritual center out in Fallbrook, and he was talking about Dante's Inferno, and he finally finished that chapter where he's out of hell. But the bottom line of what he took out of that reading was that greed is hell, and that is the paradigm. You think you're going to hold on to something, but actually it takes it more away from you. So some of the things that are in this book that I'm going to share with you right now are, let me just put those bullet points into these two frames. So scarcity mindset then is most people are deeply scripted in what Stephen Covey calls the scarcity mindset or scarcity mentality. They see life as having only so much, as though as if there was only one pie out there. And if someone were to get a big piece of that pie, it would mean less for everybody else. The scarcity mindset or mentality is the zero-sum paradigm of life. People with scarcity mentality have a very difficult time sharing recognition and credit, power, or profit, even with those who have helped them in the production. So like, think about a real estate transaction. It's not just you doing that. Oh my gosh, I have pillars that hold me up for a real estate transaction. And I love to acknowledge and appreciate them before, during, and after the transaction, so that they will be there for me and make it fun and a win-win kind of thing. Scarcity mindset has a very hard time being genuinely happy for the success of other people. Now, that we are going to talk more about that. Now, the abundance mindset, on the other hand, it flows out of a deep inner sense of personal worth and security. So, you know, I'm all about spirituality, right? And I'm the spiritual realtor, and I seek God first. And that is recommended in one of those books that with the black lettering. You should read it. So I seek God first. So I already know that I'm taken care of. So so my abundance thinking comes from knowing that I'm always going to be taken care of. Like we talked about in the introduction video with James, that doesn't mean that I stop pedaling or that I stop, you know, I take my foot off the pedal, is how he quoted it. I definitely keep moving. In fact, I have 2 listing appointments to go on or I'm scheduling this morning. And that is just from me being open, being out there, meeting people, and getting a referral to talk about taking 2 listings from one person today. So that's pretty exciting. But it's the paradigm trait that there's plenty out there and enough to spare for everybody. So the abundance mindset results in the sharing of prestige, of recognition, of profits, of decision making. It opens possibilities, options, alternatives for creativity. That's so good, isn't it? So the 8 things that Stephen Covey talks about and covers in this book, I'll just sum them up because we're already at 8:15. Is number 1. So if you have a pen or paper, you can jot this down. 1, have appreciative conversations. Like, talk about the things that you do have, not what you don't have or are lacking. So keep your conversations and your words positive and uplifting to yourself and others, because your words have power in them. They have energy. Your thoughts do too. So I don't know if you've ever seen that guy that does the water. So he thinks certain thoughts and the water reacts. I forget his name right off the top of my head right now. But think about if you can do that with water, what happens with other people or your clients or your children or anyone you're really in contact with out in the world. So have appreciative conversations. Just speak highly of everything. It's not bypassing, it's just keeping it on the positive. That's what we're going to go and try to do out in the world. Be positive. Number 2, organize your home and your life. Gosh, I know I kind of hoarded up during COVID, and I made it so I could have everything right here, and it turned into this big clutter thing, and it's blocking my flow. And so it's very important to organize your home and your life so you could create a vacuum to make room for everything that's coming or that you're going to be working on manifesting. Number 3, reduce your media consumption. And I'm just going to like drop the mic on that one. Just stop. If you wake up and you just start scrolling, and well, we want you to come here, so scroll to this, but you know, don't stay on it. Like, hours can go by, and I know because I've done it myself and gotten out of that habit because it doesn't take me anywhere I want to go. So, or the news, you know, reduce your media consumption. Ted Lasso was good. I like that. So number 4, share what you have with others, your time, your knowledge, your effort. It doesn't have to be about money or anything like that. if you have a spiritual community, your time and your talents, that's what people really would like to see and get built up with that. Number 5, try to create win-win situations. So remember when I was talking about my real estate transactions, that's really always where I try to bring everybody to the win-win, where you're happy and everybody's happy, and we all have to give a little, yes, because there's plenty to give. There's a big pie. So I could take a little sliver and share that with everyone to have a win-win situation. Okay, so number 6, look for positives in every loss. I didn't get that listing. Well, maybe that's good, because maybe that was a person that you probably shouldn't have been with, or that freed you up to be able to do something over here. You have to kind of switch your thinking to look for the positives in everything. So what are you supposed to learn from this situation that felt disappointing? So just pause for that. Number 7, stop comparing yourself to others. You are a unique and divine individual that, that is here for a specific purpose, just you, only you. And so you can't compare yourself with others. Just throw that concept out. Windermere's talking about, that they have these little things that are creating a secret sauce, in terms of other real estate brokerages, but each of the agents has their own level of secret sauce. There is no comparison. Don't compare yourself to anyone else, because if we all threw our problems into the middle of the room, you might have heard this. If everybody sat around and said, I'm going to get rid of my life and I'm going to throw it in the middle of the room, and you saw everybody else's life, you'd rush right in the middle of that room to grab your life right back. Do not compare yourself to anyone ever. Just rejoice in who you are, that we're alive in this moment in time. And number 8, why don't you pick up a little gratitude journal? With one of the exercises in another book that I have, which is pretty funny. I don't know if you want to buy it or anything, but it's called Even Mystics Have Bills to Pay. So, I'm not just sitting around like meditating all day. I do have bills to pay. But in that book, as well as Stephen Covey's book, he talks about take a notebook and make a record when anything good happens to you, or is surprising to you, like a friend just offers to take you out to lunch, or a neighbor comes by with a big bag of oranges from their tree, or, anything that is a special surprise for you. Write it down. Any kind of magic that happens, write it down, keep a journal, reference it, and you will see a difference in your day. Another little tip I have, and this goes back to metaphysicians, way back. Terry Cole Whitaker was a religious scientist, and she had a big following down in San Diego. And she wrote this book called What You Think of Me Is None of My Business. And that really changed my mind about a lot of things, like the comparing yourself to others, because what somebody thinks about you, you don't have any time for any of that. And just stay in your lane, right? But she had this thing, another book that she wrote, Having More in a Have Not World. And she would write, this is back when people were writing checks, right? But in the note, she would say, thank you, God, or, thank you for this, or, some kind of positive thing on her checks. Now, I guess you could do that on Venmo or other ways that you can acknowledge, allowing that money to flow out from you. There's another guy that said, arigato your money. So anytime you're making a transaction, you're paying your bill at a restaurant, say thank you to your money. Arigato is thank you in Japanese. So just arigato your money and watch it come back around. It's pretty exciting. And so that's what I have for you today in terms of abundance. We're going to pick our new word for the week here. And we're going to talk more about abundance next week. This card for today, for this week, for us to think about, especially on Indigenous Peoples Day, is compassion. How can you bring compassion into your week this week? Write it down. Get that little gift book for yourself, little journal for yourself. Real quick too, I'm going to tell you that I got some merchandise. I got some Soul on Fire shirt, Prayers My Superpower, and Spiritual Entrepreneur shirt. So things like that are coming. Would love to share those with you as well. And I think that that's going to be doing it for today. So go out there and have, oh, wait. April, I got one more thing. I got one more quote for you to take you out. And this is from Joel Goldsmith. You guys, anything you pick up of his, amazing. But he says, let us learn to think of dollars as we do of leaves on trees or oranges, as the natural and inevitable result of the law active within. There is truly no need to be concerned, even when the trees appear to be bare. As long as we are conscious of the truth that the law is even now operating within to bring forth fruit after its own kind. Regardless of the state of our finances at any given moment, let us not be concerned or worried, because we now know that the law acting in, through, and as our consciousness is at work within us, when we are asleep as well as when we are awake, to provide all those added things. So make it a great week, and I will see you next Monday.